Okay, which is good to go.
Ready to go.
Okay. Thank you.
Normally, our Glenn Miller Birthplace Society band performs on Friday mornings.
Louder!
And they will, the Glenn Miller Birthplace band will perform Friday morning. But you're getting a bonus tonight. You're hearing them in their new version and form for the first time. And I want to share some things with you that have been going on over the last several months and weeks in planning for this event tonight and tomorrow morning. To the, let's just say, generosity or maybe focus of the Glenn Miller Estate, the Glenn Miller Collections at the University of Colorado, and Glenn Miller Productions in Lake Mary, Florida, the operator of the Glenn Miller Orchestra. These guys now have 40 charts in their book to perform for you, courtesy of the Glenn Miller Music Library, and I think they're up to it. We're getting rave reviews from rehearsal, and this is the Glenn Miller Birthplace Society band like you've never heard it before, directed by our friend and former vocalist and trumpet player in this band, Jarrod Harrah. I want to say one thing, I don't want to embarrass him before things get started. Jarrod has a little bit of support and help tonight from a few amateurs that have never really performed before or been anywhere in the world to do anything. He's going to audition a new singer tonight that you'll be interested in hearing and things like that, but we'll get to that later. Jarrod has done a fantastic yeoman job the last few months getting ready for this. He's worked his heart out, and I think it's going to show in the performance. And with that, Jarrod, take it away.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. As Dennis said, I'm Jarrod Harrah. I'm from Springfield, Ohio. And hey, thanks! Springfield, Ohio. And we're going to get started for you here tonight. Most of what you're going to hear is some Glenn Miller music. And we've got a couple of other bands in the mix, some little surprises. So sit back and relax. And don't forget, there's plenty of room out here for dancing. I see plenty of pretty girls out here, guys, so don't forget to ask them to dance. All right, let's get started. Sax player. All the time. It's either sax player or the vocalist. Of course, that was Glenn's theme song, the 1938 composition of Moonlight Serenade, and the band's theme song. And now we're going to get things started off with Jerry Gray's wonderful arrangement of The String of Pearls. 1, 2, come on, shoot. All right, folks, so that was the String of Pearls, and now we're going to do another tune for you that was a big hit for the band. Back in 1941, an arrangement that was made by Mr. Bill Finnegan, and it went all the way to #1 and stayed there for a while, much to the chagrin of ASCAP at the time. So here is Bill Finnegan's arrangement of the Song of the Volga Boatman. So this band is made up of what I like to call it the epitome of this festival in the town of Clarinda. Every year, people from all over the world get together. We get together in the band room at 2 o'clock every year on Thursday. And this band is made up of people literally from all over the world. We rehearse for 2 or 3 hours. We haven't seen each other in a year. And then we all get together and come out here and play. I think the band's doing a phenomenal job. How about you? So why I call it the epitome of the festival, the heartbeat of the festival, is because it's just like all of us. These are just musicians, though. It's just a bunch of friends that get together once a year to enjoy some great music. So to continue with that great music, we're going to bring out a wonderful young lady that's going to sing a song for you now that she wrote herself. And you all may recognize her. She was here back in 2019, I think it was, wasn't it? 22, sorry. 22. And she was a competition winner. And she is back now to perform for you. So here's Miss Oliviana Marie.
How about another hand for Jarrod and this amazing band? the vocal scholarship winner back in 2022, and I'm from Los Angeles, California, but I've been back to Clarinda every year since then. I love it here so much. This music and people here is so inspiring. I was a composition major at the University of Southern California. I just graduated 2 weeks ago. When I won the competition in 2022, I went back to Los Angeles and I decided to try and write my own big band chart under the mentorship of Ron Wilkins, who is in the Count Basie Orchestra. And so I wrote this little tune called There Ain't Enough Hours in the Day, and it went on to win ASCAP's Sammy Cahn Award. Sammy Cahn wrote Come Fly With Me and Let It Snow. It won the Bill Conti Big Band Arranging Award. He wrote the theme to Rocky, and it also won a Marvin Hamlish Award. Marvin Hamlish wrote a chorus line, to name a few wonderful musicals. And so I wanted to share this song with you all because it got its start here in Clarinda. So here's There Ain't Enough Hours in the Day. Ain't sleeping as much as I used to. Spend my nights tossing and turning in bed, wishing that I could be with you instead. Just like a clock that goes cuckoo. Yeah, that's how I feel about you. I wanna be with you, come at me, but there ain't enough hours in the day. There ain't enough hours in the day. Struck me with old Cupid's arrow. My friends say I'm crazy and preoccupied, counting each minute till I'm by your side. I wanna make memories together. Well, weather, whatever the weather. Now from the moment you came my way, there ain't enough hours in the day. There ain't enough hours in the day. The day.
another great tune that was done with the Glenn Miller Orchestra. And I believe it was Marion Hutton that sang this song. Is that right, Nick? All right. Marion sang this song with Glenn and the band, and here is Glenn's version of My My, Miss Oliviana Marie.
Shout a poem about how I dream of that gleam in your eye. I want to shout, but all that comes out is my mind. I want to sing of flowers in spring, but oh dear, when you're near, I just die. I want to sing, but can't sing a thing but my mind. I should say, oh, how lovely. And I should say, oh, how sweet. I should have Shakespeare at the tip of my tongue, but every time we meet, I look at you and what do? I get weak, I can't speak, I just sigh. And though I try, the best I can sigh is my mind.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and let's hear it once again for Miss Olivia Marie. That was a really nice chart that you wrote. I think so, anyway. All right, so now we're going to do another tune, of course, that was done by Mr. Glenn Miller. I think you guys have heard of him. There's some signs up around somewhere I saw with his name on it. But anyhow, here's a great band, or a great song that was done by the band, and I actually had the opportunity once to go to this place because I heard that it actually existed still and I wanted to see it. And it's all the way down in Alabama. And I found it and got my picture taken in front of that plaque there. And then I got out of that neighborhood real fast. I'm glad it was daytime. But here is Glenn's arrangement of the Tuxedo Junction.
We believe now we know. Now we know.
We have a quick announcement or a question. Is Riley here? Is Riley still down here? All right, Oliviana, you want to come here for a second? I'm going to put you on the spot for a minute. All right, why we were asking is because we're coming to a special part of the program, and this is where now we have the American Legion here, and we're going to do an honor to Glenn and all the other veterans that are here and the ones that have passed on. So at this time we're going to have a posting of the colors by the American Legion, so if you would please rise for the posting of the colors.
Detail, halt, left, face, present, arm. Right shoulder, arm. Right face. Forward, march.
Now, if you're a veteran, please stay standing. The rest of you, please sit down. You're able to sit down now. And if you have served, please remain standing. Let's hear it for our veterans and for the American Legion folks. The reason why we're all through. Thank you. Well, just like a bunch of friends all getting together, Glenn had his friends too. And I don't know how you were friends with this guy, if you've ever read any stuff about him, because he was something. but he was one great musician and had a wonderful band. And tonight, we're going to pay tribute to one of Glenn's friends and play his arrangement of it. It was come out, I believe it was in '38, and it was arranged by a really neat tie-in to Glenn, another friend of Glenn's. This original arrangement that was done by Mr. Artie Shaw was arranged by Jerry Gray of the Miller alumni, before he was a Miller alumni. So here is Jerry Gray's arrangement for Mr. Artie Shaw of Begin the Begin. I heard the sides, you can dance. It's a good dancing song. Let's hear it for the clarinetist, Mr. Chris Gibson. Where are you from, Chris? Maryville, Missouri. Right down the street.
We want to do something really special right now. A little bit of an interruption. Over 50 years, a lot of folks have come and come and come regularly to this event. And I want to recognize someone who's here, a very special person who's been here many times, and he's just had his 95th birthday, I think, or something. And it would be Don Hoover. Don, I know you're out there somewhere. Think over that way. You don't have to stand up. Okay. Anyway, there he is over there. Please give Don a hand. Thank you for coming. You know, there's a lot of folks who come and they don't speak up and they don't hear about them, and they're not out here on front trying to impress you or anything. But you know, they're here and they're faithful and they're loyal and they care about Glenn Miller and the music and all of this. And I think Don represents everybody that's made this thing possible over the years. So thank you and continue to enjoy the music.
Well, it's a good thing I'm not out here trying to impress you. You all would go home sad. All right, the next song the band's going to do was another friend of Glenn's. Of course, these guys were all knew each other, you know, back in the day in New York City in the band scene, and, you know, grueling tours that they would go out on. That would just be horrible, living off of a bus, you know, or a train. How is it, Nick? What's it like? I mean, is it really that bad? Does it smell as bad as I think it does? Probably that possible. But you can imagine what it was like back then. I bet it was so much fun. But here is a great chart. Every jazz band, swing band, and every artist has recorded a version of it, had an arrangement of it. But here's Benny Moten's The Moten Swing.
going to interrupt them once again. Sorry for all these interruptions, but we have custody of Riley Nowhere. She's here. So we're not going to break her heart. Riley's going to come up here and sing for you, and then we're going to get back to the band. Riley, please come up and join. Please give an applause.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Riley. I made some notes when I was, they told me that I was going to come up here and do this. And when I say come up here, I mean to Clarinda, not up here on the stage. I found out a little bit more than 10 minutes ago we were doing this. But I wanted to share something with you because we were talking about friends. And you find out when the chips are down who your friends are. And we had a couple of times that the chips seemed to be down, and I found out I had a lot of friends I didn't even know I had. That stood up to the plate and helped pull this thing off. And one of those people that I get to count amongst my friends that stepped up to the plate to help us out here was a great guy that I always looked up to, and kind of jealous of him too, because he had the job I always wanted to have. But he's going to try singing now, I guess, instead of directing bands and stuff. So why don't you guys just keep an open mind, all right? And we'll see what this guy can do, all right? But I'll tell you, it's an honor of a lifetime for myself here to introduce to you the male singer on the band tonight, and he's going to take over the band and give it a whirl, and hold on, because he's pulled some pretty good charts to do for you tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, the former director of the Glenn Miller Orchestra, Mr. Nick Hilscher.
Well, thank you very much. And as always, it's a delight to be back here in one of my favorite spots in the United States, Clarinda, Iowa, the birthplace of Glenn Miller. 50 years this wonderful festival has been going on. I think that my first time ever being here in Clarinda with the Glenn Miller Orchestra was way back in 2001 or 2002, probably 2002. And have had the privilege of being here so many times. The band was led by Larry O'Brien at that time period, and I had the privilege of leading the Glenn Miller Orchestra from 2012 up through 2020, if you call that year through. But it is a real pleasure and an honor. Dennis called me back in probably February, March, something like that, and asked if I would be a part of this, and it is my honor. And I tell you what, we have been given a beautiful night tonight. Enjoy this. Thank you. Well, my two tunes are going to be from Glenn Miller's library, and I'd like to start with one that Meredith Willson wrote. And this is a beautiful song that was written, well, I said by Meredith Willson, and recorded by Ray Eberly, Glenn Miller's male vocalist. And this tune was a pretty big hit in, well, late summer of 1941, In fact, I believe that it was on the top 10 list for about 7 weeks at number 4. A beautiful song called You and I.
One, two, three, four.
Darling, you and I know the reason why a summer sky is blue, and we know why birds in the trees sing melodies and why love will grow from the first hello until the last goodbye. So to sweet romance, there is just one answer. And I. How about this band, ladies and gentlemen? Glenn Miller Birthplace Society. This next song that I'm going to do was also recorded by Ray Everly, and a beautiful song written by Gordon Jenkins. And many of you may know Gordon Jenkins' name. He had a wonderful career, actually, as a composer, also as an arranger, writing for. He had that beautiful string sound that he would utilize behind great vocalists like one of my favorites, Frank Sinatra. But this is a wonderful piece of music, and when I was fronting the band back several years ago, when the Glenn Miller Orchestra library did not have a piece of music that I wanted to do, a lot of times I would just do a transcription of that particular number, which is why we're able to do these tonight. You and I is one of them, and then this next song that we're going to do for you, a beautiful trumpet solo at the beginning called Blue Evening.
the same old way. My future looks as dark as the skies above me. There must be someone here in this world who loves me. A sweet love song would be so grand to know, but my love songs are all from the radio. Another dawn is waiting for me, another day, and then another blue evening again.
Out that Nick was going to be singing and I was going to be leading. So if some of you don't know, I'm the vocalist with the Tom Doherty Orchestra back in Dayton, Ohio. So my job is usually the vocalist, not the leader. So when I found out this was going to happen, I said, what are we filming, an episode of The Twilight Zone or something? So it's been a real honor to do this, and to have Nick up here means more to me than you'll ever know. So I went online, and of course, like everybody else, I went to eBay. And I found the piano sheet music that came out in '41 for Meredith Willson's You and I by Glenn Miller. And had it framed and presented to Nick Hilscher from Jarrod Harrah, 2025 Glenn Miller Festival. Tonight, you and I traded places in the Twilight Zone. Well, back in I think it was 54, is when the movie premiered, The Glenn Miller Story. And those of you in Clarinda, your residents probably know this already, but over there, where I believe it's the real estate office is now, stood the movie theater. And the premiere, one of the premieres that they had anyway, was held here in Clarinda. And Jimmy Stewart and June Allison and all the Hollywood people came to Clarinda that night. And Helen and the kids were here. And it was a great affair. The whole town turned out, just like we are tonight. The whole town's turned out to celebrate a man and his music. And that movie had, as we all know, a lot of that stuff in there was just Hollywood stuff. But one of the neat little stories that kind of went back and forth, starting with them dating, you know, and sitting there at the college and hearing the Glee Club sing. And then later on, at the anniversary, he gives her this little present with a card on it. And then at the end of the movie, of course, we all cry when we hear this song being played for Helen for Christmas. So here is that little gift that he gave to his wife that night. Here's Glenn's Little Brown Jug. tell you something that I'm going to try to do and get through it. Because this is something that means more to me than you'll ever know, being up here tonight in front of you. Clarinda's always felt like my home away from home. Just you all are so nice and so friendly. I never knew that this town was so great. And I had waited a long time to get here. I discovered Glenn Miller's music when I was 8 years old. And my grandfather helped foster that. He bought discographies. We'd check off the songs we'd heard of Glenn's. And when I was 11, I found out that there was a Glenn Miller Festival. And I said, oh man, we got to go to that. Well, we didn't make it together. But he told me, he said, you just keep praying for it. He said, and I know one day, you're not just going to go, you're going to lead a band there. And all those years later, he was right. Because we prayed that prayer a lot. I mean, it was our prayer for a long time that I would lead a band at the Glenn Miller Festival one day. Well, 41 years later, after we started praying that, here I am tonight. So I hope you're right. Because we made it. We made it, big guy. And today happens to be his wife's, my grandmother. Today was her birthday. She had been 103 today. So, happy birthday, Gran. And this is for you, Big Danny. He was a veteran of World War II, served in the Army, and Patton's Third Army. And Glenn also being a veteran, and all of you that are here tonight, you all and those that are still signing up and still serving are on American Patrol. You ever look at something and then automatically just forget it right away? So, the next tune, we're getting down towards the end here of the program, but we're not quite done yet. But we wouldn't be nice people if we didn't say goodbye to you a special way. So here's just a beautiful song that Glenn did. And this also happened to be his son Steve Miller's favorite song. And so it's our honor to play this in memory of Steve and of course his dad Glenn. And here is the beautiful Adios. So let's hear from my friend Mr. Chris Gardner on the bass. Yeah. Also we've had Mr. Marvin Negley on piano, a Clarinda native. Paul Negley, sorry. Clarinda Negley, I'm all messed up. I'm going to pass the mic around because I want you to see how far all these guys have come. So give your name and where you're from.
Paul Negley, originally from Clarinda, but living in Urbandale, Iowa.
Ethan Bryson from Clarinda.
Chris Gardner, Oshkosh, Wisconsin.
Steve Hitt just flew in from Hepburn, Iowa.
Fran Turner, Clarinda, Iowa. Bill Richardson, Maryville, Missouri.
Ryan Linke, Clarinda, Iowa.
Jonah Olson, Little Falls, Minnesota.
Doug Polich, Modesto, California.
Kyle Grosnickel, originally from Ames, Iowa, teach band at Clarinda.
Rylan Hickey, Clarinda, Iowa.
Mark Zumhagen, Moni, Illinois, near Chicago.
Frank Miller from the Netherlands.
Levi Frazier, originally from Clarinda, now from North Carolina.
Steve Neve from Creston. Konstantin Iliev, originally from Bulgaria, but representing Bill Baker's big band from the Netherlands.
Horn, beautiful Moni, Illinois.
Chris Gibson from Maryville, Missouri.
Ken Shear from New Knoxville, Ohio.
Galen Sudik, Creston, Iowa.
Let's hear it for your band, the Glenn Miller Birthplace Society band. And I only got one other fellow Buckeye in the band this year. Only one. O.H. Oh, now here's another great part in the show. I think all of it's great, but this part I really like. So I'm going to get to introduce to you again Mr. Nick Hilscher and Oliviana Marie, and they're going to introduce the next song for you that was a big hit for Glenn and the band. So come on up, guys.
Just gonna have Oliviana do it. Well, Glenn had a great vocal group called the Four Modern Airs, and so we'd like to do one that they recorded. And this was a big hit, and Oliviana and I are going to do it as a duet. Don't sit under the apple tree with anyone else but me.
1, 2, 3,
Anyone else but me. Anyone else but me. No, 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 don't sit under the apple tree with anyone else but me. Till I come marching home. Don't go walking down Lover's Lane with anyone else but me.
Anyone else but me.
Anyone else but me. No, 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 don't go walking down Lover's Lane with anyone else but me. Till I come marching home. I just got word from a guy who heard from the guy next door to me. The girl he met just loves to pet, and it fits you to a T. So don't sit under the apple tree with anyone else but me. Till I come marching
home. Don't give out with those lips of yours to anyone else but me. Anyone else but me. Anyone else but me. No, no,
job. That's a good song, too. Well, now we come down to the next to last song. And this actually is. Everybody has, you know, you say, well, when I pass away, I want you to play a certain song at my funeral. Well, this is my funeral song. This has been my favorite song since I first heard it when I was 8 years old. I wish I could say it was an original record, blah, 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 but no, it was in a movie. I was 8 years old, and it was Nick Nolte and Deborah Winger were dancing to it. And I went, what in the world is that? I'd never heard it before. And I was immediately hooked. And it was the whole reason I wanted to become a musician, the whole reason I wanted to become a singer, I wanted to be everything. But I used to pretend I was leading Glenn's band in my bedroom, boy, when I was hearing this song. It's a cooker. And here it is, the one everybody's been waiting for. We have already had a request for it. Came out in 1939. Glenn made a beautiful arrangement of it, and it has become the anthem of the big band era. This song today you can still play for people, and they go, oh yeah, I've heard that. I've heard that. So here it is, In the Mood. Thank you. So the band did a great job, didn't they? I think they've done a great job. They worked real hard this afternoon, and I bet you collectively I wouldn't want to know how many thousands of miles have been traveled to be here tonight. So we're going to say goodbye now the same way Glenn would, with the beautiful theme song that we started with and our band's theme song. So we want to say goodbye now, so please come up, say hello after the show, say hi, get your picture taken with some of these guys because you'll never see anything like this ever again. So here we go. Thank you all so much for coming down tonight. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Band, let's give them a round of applause. All right, so here's Glenn's theme, Moonlight Serenade, as we say goodbye. Thank you all so much for coming down and letting us be a part of your evening. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, have a good night. And thank you all for being here tonight and taking part in making a little 8-year-old boy's dreams come true. 41, well now more than 50 years later. Thank you so much for entrusting your band to me and these guys. It's been our privilege to play for you tonight. Thank you and have a great night.